This is part 2 of the previous video, where we covered the interface of Unity in 7 minutes, so be sure to check the first part if you haven't already. In this video we will cover scripting in C# and get good at writing our game code in 7 minutes. After watching this along with the previous part, I can assure you that you will get a good foundation of game development in Unity. When you install Unity, a code editor also gets installed with it, which is called Visual Studio, where we write scripts for our game. A script is a bunch of instructions for your game to perform different actions, and of course, we use a programming language C# to write our instructions. To create a C# script, you just right-click on the Asset tab and go to Create and select C# script. Right-click on our cube and drag the script here and double-click to open it. The good thing about Unity is that there's a lot of resources online. You can go online and type character run script and you'll get the code, which you can copy and paste inside your game. But of course, you should have a basic understanding of code to identify what to copy. I'll be explaining to you the important programming concepts with examples of what each line of code means, so if you're a beginner, you're covered too. This is the default Unity script you'll see whenever you open up the code editor with Unity. At the top you see the libraries that are automatically been imported to the script. This just means that you're using the Unity game engine. Then we have the variables, which we'll see in a bit. Then, we have these green lines of code. These are called comments, which won't affect our code in real time, but just here to display any message on the script. Notices what comments are saying. The code you put between start function will be called once the game starts, and that's it. However, the update function is called every frame again and again and again, so we put anything in the start when we just want to run something once, and we put something in update function that we want to call every frame. Let's print a message on the console, and we write the code between these curly brackets. We write debug.l. Notice we get suggestions for the next word. Unity Code Editor AI is smart enough to tell that what you want to use next, so don't ignore the suggestions once you understand the code. And C# is also cap sensitive. Make sure to keep in mind when you type a word. We write debug.log. Then we use the open and close parenthesis, and in the double quotation marks, we write our text. Make sure to end every line with a semicolon. The script we wrote is called syntax. As a beginner, you'll be making a lot of mistakes in your syntax, and make sure to use Google search to find the solution to this. Google is your friend when it comes to writing code. Now when we go to Unity and hit play, nothing is showing on the console, and you become frustrated and quit the Unity. But wait, we haven't saved the script file. That's why it hasn't been printed, so make sure to save your script before you come to Unity to test. And now we can see an important message printed on the console. Instead of printing messages on the console, we can do pretty much everything in our code, like moving the object, adding forces, adding physics, adding player input, and so on. Possibilities and endless now. Before we proceed, let's quickly understand 8 to 9 programming terms we use in Unity all the time. Don't get intimidated by this now. You'll build a muscle memory over time. By practicing them, we will also be applying this knowledge in detail in our future tutorials, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. And I have also added a link below to Unity documentation, where you can learn all the features in Unity in detail with examples. All you have to do is head over to the scripting tab and expand the scripting concepts. This is the place where you'll find all the examples and case studies of working with scripts in Unity. We have the variables. Variables are like boxes that contain specific data. They store some kind of value inside of them. They are used to tweak properties of your object. For example, if we have a ball in our project, we can create different variables to our ball like speed, mass, rotation or direction. So the way we create a variable in C# is by first specifying your variable is public or private. Private variables are only accessible within the script you made, and public variables can be accessed by every script in your game. Then we need to specify the variables type. I'll display the different variables on the screen for 3 seconds. You can pause the video. First, we type the privacy, then we add its type, then we give our variable a name, and finally we give it a value and end it with a semicolon. There's also another type of variable we use called vector3. This variable contains 3 values, x value, y value and z value. Then we use getComponent. To modify any of the components using code, we use this line of code. Here is the syntax. To modify rigid body, we type and press. To access different parameters of a rigid body, like adding a force to the object. Next, we use instantiate. This line of code allows us to spawn out game objects on screen within our script. The syntax is very simple. We type the specific object we want to spawn, then we type its position, then we type its rotation, and end the line with a semicolon. And then we use destroy, which allows us to destroy game objects within our script. The syntax is also very simple. First, we type destroy and type the object we want to destroy. After that, we add the lifetime and end the line with a semicolon. Then we have loops. Loops are used to repeat a certain line on code. There are many types of loops, but we'll discuss the for loop. Here is the syntax first. We have the keyword for, then we create an int variable. Give it a name I, which stands for iteration, and give it some value and put a semicolon. Then we have the condition, which is, for example, I3. This loop will run as long as I is less than 3. Then we have to specify what happens to the I variable each time when the loop runs. To do that we just time I++. This will add 1 to I. Each time the loop runs, this loop will run 3 times, because values start from 0, 1, 2. Then we have if-else statements, which allows us to add a decision to our game. This is the syntax. We write if, and in the parenthesis we type condition, and within the curly brackets, we type the code. If the condition is true, the code gets executed, or if the condition is false, code we write in else gets executed. Next, we use input.toTaxisRaw. Games are interactive pieces of art, so to make interaction we need to get some player input. Input.toTaxisRaw helps us to create interaction in our game. There are many inputs like a mouse, keyboard, controller, and so on. Horizontal returns 1 if you press the right arrow key, and -1 if you press the left arrow key. Likewise, vertical returns 1 if you press the up arrow key, and -1 if you press the down key. Both return 0 if nothing is pressed. Next, we use this allows moving an object from point A to point B with a certain speed. Here is the syntax. This takes 3 arguments. The first one is the starting position, the second one is the final position, and the third is the speed of your object. Then we have basically whatever we put between this function runs automatically when your object touches or collides with another object. To make this work we must have box collider enabled on that specific object. If you make it this far, congratulations, you've learned a lot today. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Also follow me on Instagram at cg.runner. I would love to see what you came up with. I have a lot of Unity content planned for this channel. To make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. See you next time.